Hey, everybody, welcome to Wednesday night THS Discourse. We do this every Wednesday, live here on Facebook and live on YouTube. And if you've never subscribed to the YouTube channel, now is the time. So hit that subscribe button for us, hit the like button, all that good stuff, because every little bit helps. And it's really not that hard to do. Just a little tap on the phone, a little click with the mouse. Anyway, tonight we've got a show. We're talking about a newer movie from 2019, Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse, starring Robert Pattinson and Willem Defoe. A very bizarre movie. Pretty sure Nate liked it or loved it. I saw it just now. It ended about 45 minutes ago. Then I made spaghetti. So it's fresh in my mind. I think Seth watched it today as well, and Jared will be with us shortly. I bet Jared liked it too. So I'm gonna bring in everybody, and we'll get to talking. There was something I wanted to bring up before, but I can't remember what it is now. Maybe it's because I should be the face of horror. Speaking of the face of horror, Seth, how you doing today?
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, not much. You ready to talk about the Lighthouse?
Yeah.
All right. And then we've got Nathan Thomas Milliner.
Hey.
Hey, Scott, how you doing, man? Scott's here. Scott, did you see the Lighthouse? Let us know. And Jared, Monkey Pump. All right, everybody. So I had something I wanted to talk about before the show or before we got started. It has nothing to do with the face of horror. What was it? Hold on. Something happened. Oh, I wanted to mention it's Dario Argento's birthday today. So happy 82nd birthday to Dario Argento. Is one of the best. Anyway, so the Lighthouse. Everybody's seen it, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Jared, say something because I haven't heard your voice yet.
I saw it.
Okay, good. You're a little low, but I can hear you. So let's go around and get some reactions, I guess. What did you think of the Lighthouse? Jared, how about you go first?
Me?
Yeah.
I consider it a contemporary classic. Next.
Is there any way to turn your volume up?
I can try. But yes, I consider it a contemporary classic.
Yeah.
Is it better
What do
if
you like
I
about it?
talk closer to my laptop?
Just talk
It's better.
regular.
It's better.
Go finish your thought.
Well, I mean, this is Robert Eggers' second film, and in my opinion, he completely blows this effort out of the water, and that's saying a lot because we all know what
And
his
it's a
first
pun.
film was.
And it's a pun.
Yep,
A lot of water in this movie.
legit pun. But no, we all know what his first film was, so I mean, it's kind of a big, film to do better than. But in my opinion, he blew it out of the water, literally. Also, pun intended. But I can always go into that a little bit farther when we get into the episode.
Yeah, we'll do that. I want to get everybody's reaction. I'm pretty sure I know Nate's, so he's gonna be last. Seth, what did you think today? I know you texted us some weird thing that I didn't understand about a crab or something. You love my crab or something?
Lobster.
Lobster. Yeah.
You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So later in the movie, I figured out. I'm like, oh, okay, that's from the movie. So yeah. What do you think today watching it?
I liked it. It was weird. It was beautifully directed, great cinematography. I really loved the visual aesthetic of it, the way it looked and felt like an older movie.
Mm-hmm. It
The
did.
performances were really good. Yeah, it's just it was definitely a weird movie, and it feels like one of those movies where if I watch it again, I'll probably pick up something new on it. So
Yeah, just kind of like The Witch in that way. And I have a feeling it's going to be like that for me with this. The Witch was one I didn't care for when I saw it in the theater. I was hyped about it, but I've seen it a few times since, and I like it better each time. Um, I'll go ahead and give my. I didn't really get into this one too much. It was good. Well, like you just piggyback off what you said. Well directed. The acting was top notch. I mean, Robert Pattinson. I don't think I've ever seen him better. And Willem Dafoe was fantastic also. Uh, yeah, I did like. I dug the. It did feel like it came out of another time, and that's one of the things Edgar does so well. Eggers does so well is he really can set the mood for the time. But my first watch, it was okay for me. So, Nate, I know you like it a lot. Don't be mad at me. I didn't say I hated it.
I don't. It's not one of my favorites. I would say I like it a lot. But yeah, but the thing about this movie is I totally get it because it's an odd fucking film and it's got so much going on in you have to know a lot about like Greek mythology and you have to know a lot about the stuff that he's thinking. And thing is like he's influenced by so many filmmakers that people today don't really know about, or they do, but they don't watch. I mean, he's pulling from Bergman and Bresson and several other films, like even Werner Herzog. He's pulling from him. He's doing a lot with all these different filmmakers, and there's little nods in there to those films, those filmmakers, because he's like a film nerd. He's a film school guy, and horror fans don't usually like those type of filmmakers and those type of films. So they just look at it and go, pretentious fucking guys up his ass kind of thing. And so I get when people don't like it. That's cool. I understand it. Like there was a lot of people on Amazon on the reviews that wrote books. So I'm happy that they wrote that much to say why they didn't like it. And a lot of them were saying, oh, it's very pretentious up his ass. And a lot of them were very highly intelligent people who knew what he was going for and knew they just didn't, they just think it's self-indulgent stuff. It's not entertaining. And a lot of people feel, films should be entertaining. Not all filmmakers are doing it just to entertain you. They're doing it because they're trying to explore ideas. And apparently this was based on an unwritten or unfinished Edgar Allan Poe story called The Lighthouse. And then it's based on some true stories. There were 3 lighthouse guys who disappeared in 1904 or something like that. No one knows where they went. There was no signs to know where they went. And then there was 2 guys who were working at a lighthouse, and one of them died from some illness or something, and there was no way to contact anybody, and there was nowhere to put the body. So I think he built a casket for it, and it started to rot and stink. So he couldn't stay there. So he hung it outside the window, the body outside the window, and it just decomposed for like weeks or months until someone came because he had nowhere to put it. So they said it was kind of a nightmare because he had to sit there and look at that corpse just decomposing for so long. But he kept the body because he didn't want people thinking it was foul play that he killed him or something. He didn't get rid of the body or anything like that or bury it. So that's why he kept it around. But there's a lot to dissect in the film, and I've done a lot of research this week on it, and I've watched it again and again. I've actually watched it like 3 times, and the commentary, watched other people talk about it, and so there's a lot of stuff that you have to watch it a couple times to really unfold what's going on. And there's, like we were talking about last week with the haunting and the innocence, there's so many possibilities. Just like The Witch. The Witch has a lot of different interpretations. You know, was it the devil, or was it just madness, or was it just their superstitions, or was it, you know, this movie has that too. Like, what is actually happening, or what isn't happening, and you know, so there's so many routes you could take. So if you're watching this movie first out, you're probably going to be like, you either fucking love it, or you probably think it's a piece of shit and doesn't make any sense. And everybody said the same thing. Yeah, the cinematography was nice. Everybody says that about it. Even the people who hated it, like, yeah, it was pretty. And everybody loves Willem Dafoe, so everybody's like, Willem Dafoe's great. And a lot of people liked Robert Pattinson. Even people who hated it said Robert Pattinson was awesome. But there was a lot of people just hated the movie because they just thought it was art house garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand that. Like, I understand not liking the movie. You know, you don't like the story. You don't like, you know, the pacing or whatever. But I just think pretentious is thrown out way too much to describe art house movies. I mean, he's just a good filmmaker, and he's making a good film that's very patient. It's, you know, it's well crafted in every way, you know, especially with the way that Eggers, especially, you know, he tries to stick to dialogue of the times with each of his films. I don't know. I just, like, I understand not liking it, but I just don't see where it's pretentious to me.
Well, I think the pretension thing is that's something that gets thrown around by a lot of people. And I mean, first of all, I think Paul Schrader, somebody said, look, all filmmakers are pretentious. It's kind of just who we are. Or all art is pretentious. But I think what it is just a difference of taste. Like, Robert Eggers isn't watching Friday the 13th and Sleepaway Camp and Nightmare on Elm Street. He loves Ingmar Bergman. He likes Robert Bresson. He likes French cinema and Italian cinema, and he likes the films of the 30s and the 40s and the 20s and the 50s. So he's just, that's his meal. That's what he has a diet of. And he has an interest in history. He started as an art director, so that's why he's so meticulous about details, and because art directors do their history. They do their research to get things accurate, especially when they do period films. So he just fucking loves that. He loves learning about history and learning about mythology and learning about all these things, and he puts it in his movies. And, you know, people today just don't care. Like, they don't care about history. They don't care about learning about what was or how people spoke. And they just think, man, they're talking weird. I don't like this, or I don't understand it. It's shit, you know. And it's not shit. It's not pretentious. It's that's where his interests are. You know, like, he's just not interested in giving you the kind of movie that you're wanting. But that doesn't make it shit. It just means that's what he likes. And that's what filmmakers should make, what they like. They shouldn't make what everyone else wants to see.
Yeah, I just don't see how it's even a bad thing for someone to put, like, some quality and some, like, effort into their movie, you know, while they praise Sean Cunningham. Come on. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, it's like I saw this week. I told you guys, like, a guy was talking about how shitty Jaws was. I wouldn't saw Jaws. It's just shit. It sucks. And he's wearing a Child's Play 2 t-shirt. And I'm thinking, look, I like Child's Play 2. But come on. You know, and that's not me being, like, pretentious or anything. I mean, come on, Jaws is on another level than Child's Play 2. I don't care what gang you run with or where your interests lie. It's not just a good horror film. It's just, like Quentin Tarantino just said the other day, it's probably the greatest movie ever made. It's Jaws. There's nothing he can even think that competes with it.
I've always said Jaws transcends horror because it's so damn good. It's got a little bit of everything in it. We've talked about Jaws before on the show, but
well, it entertains, but it's also fucking masterful filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And if people who know filmmaking watch that and go, my God, look at what he's doing. The script's so strong, and the camera moves and the shots and everything about it, the pace and everything about that movie is perfection. In just so many ways, and it's entertaining as fuck, and it changed cinema forever. So to say it sucks, it's terrible, makes me really forget anything else you say because it's not gonna.
You lose all credibility
Yeah.
saying Jaws sucks.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Is it just doesn't seem like a lot of people know how to articulate what they don't like about something, so they go for the kind of the easy words to toss out. Because I mean, it's not a problem if you don't like The Lighthouse, or even if you don't like Jaws. That's not an issue. I mean, it's personal preference. It's all
Maybe
subjective.
slow to you.
You
But
can't just
yeah, I just feel like there's, I don't know. I just wish people would articulate it a little bit better of why they don't like something.
give us an educated reason why you don't like it.
Yeah,
They can't-
I didn't like it. Why? Because it sucked. That's not.
Because it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead and tell me everything you're educated about, and I'll just hit my laugh emoji for the next hour at you.
Or we'll just have Seth get angry and do some kung fu.
The face of horror.
But enough of shitting on.
Horror,
Yeah, I guess we'll give up on shitting on people because again, like
Yeah.
that's what it is. Eric, like he's not pretentious. He just likes these things, and you don't like his movie because you don't like those things. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's like to just like go on Amazon and just write a fucking and everyone writes a book, and then they also include. There's so many of them say 2 hours I'll never get back. 2 hours I lost from my life. I'll never get back. I want my 2 hours back.
Now, I wouldn't say that. I've been wanting to watch this for a while now, and I ordered it before I even saw it, so it'll be here tonight about 10. Can't fucking believe that still. But so I was like, I didn't go in thinking it was going to be a great movie or anything like that, but I wanted to see it because I liked The Witch, and I've heard it was a really good movie, and there's a lot about it to like, and especially and I'm not a filmmaker, Nate, you are, of course, but like from a filmmaker's perspective, there's a lot to like there. But I don't know. I think part of me, I think I got a little lost. That's why I need to watch it again with some of the dialogue. And like at one point he's calling him Winslow, and one point he starts calling him Tom, and I'm like, did I miss something? So like I definitely need to rewatch it to find out what exactly I missed, and so that it's definitely a movie that is a multiple view for anybody who watches it, and I think that's I haven't seen The Northman yet, but I really want to see that one too.
The Northman is his easiest, it's the movie that anybody could watch and not be like. It's Hamlet basically, and it's very straightforward. It's actually my least favorite movie is because it's so just
easy to digest.
Yeah, it's just there. It's like I knew where it was going. It went there, and I like with The Witch and Lighthouse, I had absolutely no fucking idea where I was going. Just like Nope or stuff like that.
Especially The Lighthouse. Especially The Lighthouse. Like The Witch, I mean, you didn't know where it was going, but you kind of saw a road that you could see a path. But The Lighthouse, I had no fucking clue what was going to happen. At one point, he sees a mermaid or something. I don't even know if he saw that or not.
That's the beautiful part about it.
Yeah. So like, this movie is it's definitely one I'm going to have to watch more than once. And that's not a bad thing, I don't think. It's especially since I've got enough interest in seeing it again that I want to go and pay closer attention and try to understand what the fuck they're saying half the time. Willem Defoe, I couldn't understand half the shit he was saying at times. Sorry, I've been under the weather. My throat is jacked up. So
I've gone into all three of his movies not knowing what to expect or what's going on. Like I went to go see The Northman when it came out in the theaters. I didn't watch a trailer. I didn't read a synopsis. I knew absolutely nothing about it. I didn't know it was based on Hamlet. I didn't know anything. And I love that movie. That's my favorite of his.
Really?
To be honest, I think it's really...
I saw the trailer for the first time last night because I was preparing.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the trouble too, because I've talked to people about that movie, and a lot of people I've talked to didn't care for it, or didn't like it as much as I did. But like some people thought it was going to be like a Braveheart type of movie because of the trailer or something like that. I don't know, but when I went to go see it, I knew shit about it. And same thing with Lighthouse and The Witch. I knew nothing about all three of these, so I guess it's something with his films. Just don't pay attention until they come out.
Yeah, I don't think I think if I would have saw a trailer for The Lighthouse, I would have passed it up. To be honest, because I still haven't seen a trailer for it, but like I'm watching that thinking about how they could cut a trailer for this and what it would be like. I still haven't seen it. I probably should watch it to see what it's like. But anyway, I think
It's probably
more
what
than
you
something,
envision.
huh?
It's probably what you would envision as a trailer.
Yeah, sometimes I like doing that. Not if I had like I never saw a trailer for The Last Night in Soho, and I watched the movie last night. And by the way, that movie we need to talk about at some point. I don't know if you guys have liked it or not, but I saw the trailer afterwards, and I'm like, man, that trailer paints a different picture from what I like actually came into the movie. So, and I never saw a trailer for The Lighthouse. Now I kind of want to see what kind of picture it paints for me. God damn it! I'm gonna go get a cough drop. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I'll go ahead and pick up a little bit since you guys have already said some stuff. Like, it's one of those movies that you like. We all watched The Witch before we saw this, so none of us were really sure where this was going to take us. But I watched it again today. I think it was the fourth time I've seen it all together, and like Ray was saying, like there is definitely something to pick up on every single time you watch this movie. But the reason I called it a modern classic is because you literally have two guys, one setting, one movie. This could be a play. This could be, this could be anything. Like the fact that he was able to do this with just two guys in one setting is phenomenal. But yeah, I did want to make a couple of comments, but I since we're only covering one movie on this episode, I'll wait till we get towards the end on it. But you definitely see at the very beginning there is this huge divide, and then as the movie progresses, the divide kind of comes back in again, but then it spreads out again. Like, just the development between the two characters and the way they interact with each other is also really awesome because you don't know any of these guys' backgrounds. Like, okay, I'm gonna work on a Lighthouse for a fucking month. I'm working with another dude for another fucking month. Okay,
like, they're all lying to each other the whole time. Well,
oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah.
Is that why he wanted to be called Winslow?
Well, he's not Winslow. Winslow was his former boss, or like when he was a
co-worker in Canada,
and the lumberjack guy. He killed him,
or let him die. One of the
or let him die, or whatever. But
right.
he took his identity because apparently whatever happened before, like he said, I had this new name, this new identity is his only chance to go somewhere. A lot of the movie, there's so many different routes with the movie. A lot of people can say it's like the American dream. Because one of the things you see right away is like the pecking order of these two, and in the script they were just described as young and old. Pattinson's character was called young, Willem was old, and the whole time Defoe's just telling him what to do, and he's working his ass off, and he's being made to do all this slavery work, which is just a representation of all of us who work these type of jobs where we just bust our ass and never get anywhere, and we're promised something great. Well, what that light represents is the American dream, or the thing that we want, the thing we can't get, or the thing that the boss has. And he's like, only I get to go with the light. Only it's my light. It's mine. And he keeps them out, and he keeps trying to get to it. And that's where he goes at the end of the movie after he's out of the way, is to this light. But it's like this guy treats him like shit and just barks at him and calls him a dog the whole time and does all this stuff. And then when they sit down to have dinner, he tries to be his friend. It's like the boss who tries to be your friend. It's like, fuck you, dude. Like, and then he keeps fucking with him. Like when he wants to drink, he won't drink. He makes him drink the bad water, and he's like, hey, you got to drink this alcohol, and you got to drink. And it's like, well, he's pushing You know, some people they say they push alcohol and drugs on the poor to keep them where they're at. You know, as Robert Pattinson said, it keeps them stupid, is what he says. When he says you should drink. It keeps them happy, or there he goes, keeps them stupid. You know, and it's like, so there's so many little things like that going on in that narrative. That's just in the dialogue or what we're watching. But I talked about Greek mythology. These two represent two Greek mythology figures. Robert Pattinson represents Prometheus, who, created people, created all this. But what happened was Prometheus gave mankind fire, the light, mm-hmm. and Zeus was angry about that because Zeus felt, well, if they have fire, they're going to have that power that we have. And I don't want them to have that power. Also, if we give them fire, they'll be able to provide for themselves and they don't need us. And, so Zeus was angry about that, which also goes into something Willem Defoe, where he gets offended because he doesn't like his cooking and all that. It's like, you don't like the gifts that I give you? Because some believe that another interpretation is that Defoe is a god, that he is, I think it's Proteus, which is like Poseidon's son.
Yeah, and he also mentioned Neptune in the movie too.
He mentions Neptune, right? And he says a lot of stuff about that. But Proteus was like the part where he turns into a creature. He's got like the barnacles on him or whatever, and he's got like the tentacles and all that. Well, Proteus was like part man, part octopus, or he could shape shift or whatever. And so there's a lot of people think that he is this god, this entity, and he's got the fire. Zeus take it away, but Prometheus is going to take the fire back from, steals it. So Prometheus steals the fire from Zeus, gives it to the humans. Well, at the end of the movie, Robert Pattinson gets the fire, sees it, falls down the stairs, and the last shot is him laying there getting eaten by gulls. Well, Prometheus, his punishment by Zeus was that he was chained to a rock, and an eagle came and ate his liver over and over and over every day. And he would grow back because he was immortal. But every day this eagle would come and eat Prometheus' liver out of him and fly away and then come back and eat it again because it would come back. So there's all these little symbols like that in the movie that deal with Greek mythology. Some have compared Pattinson to Sisyphus, pushing the rock up the hill because someone pointed out that never has there been a movie where we see someone working this much. Like, we watch movies about jobs and all that. We don't finally see people work. We see Robert Pattinson do everything. We see every job he has, and see how awful it is and how difficult it is and how strenuous and how shitty it is. Like all the things he has to do, we see it. And some people will be bored by that, but it's kind of like, well, no, this shows work and how shitty his life is, but he keeps doing it because he wants to better himself. He wants to get somewhere. He wants a better life. He's running from stuff. So there's all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, like you said, he was a lumberjack and he murdered, or the guy died on him, and he took his identity. So that's why he's not Winslow. He's somebody else.
Okay, I must have missed that.
And he confesses that to him. And so he said, "Why'd you spill your beans to me?" What, he confesses to him at one point why he's there, what happened. But also Defoe may have killed his former partner, because there's a couple moments where he talks about his former partner went mad and died or killed himself or whatever. And Robert Pattinson finds the head. Yeah, the head. It's missing the eye.
Crap.
The seagull had a missing eye, and he says, kill a gull, you're killing it's like the spirit of a sailor or seaman who died. And so Defoe's line, like Jared was saying, like they don't know each other. Jared, Defoe gives two different stories about why he has a limp, if I remember right. Like he says that it was an accident, and then he says something about he had sexual transmitted disease or something, or he had scurvy. So he gives two different answers to why he's hurt. Well, maybe he got hurt killing the guy. So there's so many little details like that you're never going to catch on the first watch. I never caught any of that the first 2 times.
Yeah, I definitely gonna have to watch that again. I feel ill prepared.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You could watch it 10 times and still not catch all that shit.
Did you have any Amazon reviews?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them are long. I had to weed out the wrong ones.
Amazon review time.
Yeah. We got time here. Nobody's watching, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. 1-star review from Amazon. Mike Milliken says, worst movie I have ever seen. I'm quite a fan of movies that make you think, which is how this was promoted. It definitely made me think of punching myself in the face repeatedly. Absolutely 0 point to this movie. No, not even the cinematography could have saved it. The performances are good, but they have no point, no direction. I have never in my life seen a movie with less a plot line. I would choose to watch Alvin and the Chipmunks, the sequel, every day for the rest of my life before watching this one score. He put Alvin in the Chipmunks. Okay. That's a porn version, I think. Buddy's Mom, 1-star review. Disturbing and understatement. A sophomoric attempt at dark drama penned by an overly zealous B-school film major. Cheap and tawdry plot with a few cockney rhyming slang delivered by an otherwise solid perfuming Defoe. I think the film my friends and I produced in 4th grade during summer school had more creative thought.
Who's pretentious now?
Yeah. This is not art. You're better off baking bread or taking a nap. That's the ones that give me, the people like, some high school kids could have done better than this. Number 1-star review, Tim Morgan. What did I just watch? Or rather, why? Nothing redeeming here. Degrading, disgusting, and nihilistic. These 2 fine actors should be ashamed. Well, Defoe was fine anyway. This is more embarrassing and pointless than the horror flicks Midsommar and Hereditary.
So good.
That was pretty dismal. Do you want to see repeated masturbation? How did those repeated scenes improve or advance the story? Come on. What would Ron Howard say? You can try to find parallels in Greek mythology to justify the plot, but even the director Eggers stumbled on that one. What's with the recent flood of pointless horror flicks that the critics pass off as classics? If you want a dark, disturbing psychological movie, try these great films, and he lists a bunch of movies.
So that's an educated reviewer.
Yeah, it's someone I know what I'm talking about, but at the same time, it's like I said, some of them are really good. Some of them are just, some people who are really into film can be very
shitty,
judgmental. Yeah, very shitty, judgmental about other filmmakers, especially if you're someone who hasn't made a film yet, but you want to make one. You went to film school, and you haven't done that. It's the classic artist thing of why him and not me kind of thing. So you try to find all that guy's faults, even though he doesn't have many, but you'll find 1 or 2 where it's like, oh, he's doing this and this and this and this. And it's like, you may be right, but you're not 100% right. You're being a little unfair. You're being a little dickish. This movie is straight butt cheeks. The acting is fantastic, but I wouldn't expect less from the 2 actors in the movie. However, this movie is butt cheeks, literal butt cheeks. I'd get more entertainment from watching literal butt cheeks than I got from this movie. By the end, I wondered why I watched this and realized I'll never get the 1 hour and 50 minutes I spent watching it back. I could have done big things with 2 hours. Instead, I was just disappointed, saddened, bamboozled, really. It was 2 great laughs in it, and that's it. Don't waste your time. Go do big things, or simply watch better movies, or stare at butt cheeks. It will all amount to the same experience, something better than this.
Stare at butt cheeks.
Sound and fury.
Their time was so precious. They spent all that time right in that review.
Exactly.
Good
That
point.
that was something important.
Yeah.
Terrible, decent acting, cinematography, and the rest is a mess of desperate scenes and nonsense pieces to the point you care more about a rotten seagull than the two characters descending into their separate mental health crisis. You keep waiting for something to happen, but it never does, nor does it even pose any questions worth answering. I almost fell asleep. This film is a prime example of how disconnected film reviewing has become. The film is no better than a college kid's home project. Critics that gush about it never really explain why they rate it better than the true classics. Maybe because they're so wrapped up in the ridiculous art house film market world that they have to toe the party line of loving this mess or be ostracized from the next indie gala. Singularly the worst film in the Amazon library. Watched it for the cinematography only. After 15 minutes, I wanted to tear my ears off. After 30, I wanted to tear my eyes out. I don't understand how Willem Defoe and Robert Pattinson should have new agents by now, because anybody recommending actors for this film should be horsewhipped. The filmmakers should be drummed out. By the way, they were both sent the script. They fucking loved it. They wanted to do it. Drummed out of the industry on a rail. This movie is beyond bad. It's an exercise in narcissistic filmmaking. I'm not sure what everyone else viewed, but it wasn't this film. Another instance where one person loved the picture and everyone else tries to be cool. I would rather watch any bad movie that has been made in the last 50 years and watch this pitiful mess. A waste of my time. Don't make it a waste of yours.
I wish I could challenge that person to watch The Howlin' 7.
Can you reply on Amazon comments?
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah.
Go do that.
I'm a film student, and everyone in my classes were talking about this movie, and then I watched it, and I wanted to drop out. I didn't, but when I think about this movie, I wish I did. I like Robert, but he was better in Twilight. Oh, horrible, overblown, dumb, hard to watch. I was doing dishes. This is a pathetic film, waste of money. Fail, don't bother with this overhyped film, boring, tedious, time-wasting film, stupid and inane at every turn. They tried to spice it up, but failed for sure. Fail, nope. Don't waste your money like one I did. 0 stars, bad all around, painful, dumb, bogus plot, meh, poofed, sheesh. If you pay to watch this film after reading my honest review, you are stupider than me. Steer clear of this. You said you're stupid. Steer clear of this flop. Fail. Go for a walk instead. Take a nap. Anything. It's the second person to say take a nap. Anything but watch this. Prove me wrong, and I will buy you a beer. Eastport, Maine, USA, March 2020. If you pay to watch this and don't like it after reading my review, you owe me 2 beers. Fail. I drink PBR. Thanks.
That's not too far from you, right?
If you want to watch 2 guys jerk off, then this is for you.
Whoa.
Be warned, this is not a horror movie. If you feel like watching 2 guys be gross and stimulate spanking it, then you'll fully enjoy this film. It's if that's not your thing, then do yourself a favor and save your time for something better, like hitting your toe with a hammer. They're fun. Could have been good. However, they have a perv. They had to perv it up in a few scenes for absolutely no reason. Leave it to Holly Perv to perv up a movie about a lighthouse and 2 caretakers. I mean, really. Not necessary at all. Was looking forward to seeing Willem Dafoe, as he is a great actor. I really wasn't sure who the other guy was until I realized he played in that horrible Twilight BS. It became immediately clear as his acting is atrocious. We really tried to make it through this piece of crap, but turned it off 3/4 of the way through. I think we just tried to make it through because we paid for it, but it was not remotely worth getting our money worth. Worthless trash, just like every other movie Holly Perv puts out. Don't waste your time. I should have known better. Robert Eggers must have some friends in Hollywood, because there is no way he could be allowed to spew out garbage like this time and again. After I watched The Witch, I told myself I'd never watch anything else from this worthless hack who claims to create in the horror genre, but I fell victim to reviews once again. Don't waste your time with this useless. You enjoy bland, pointless stories with absolutely no direction. Mute, forward, stop, exit. My cat jumped off the bed the second the film started. Mute, super boring, imitating the old black and white, depressing, experimental European film style. Men with stinky garbage mentality who think wife equals slave equals forward. At 40 minutes, he kills a seagull. That's where I stop to watch. Pretty boring and violent. Stop. We have CGI and better content when it comes to the use of animals in films. No excuse for animal abuse. Exit. They didn't kill a real bird, you dumb bitch.
No.
I'm so sick. I'm so sick of humans treating animals like garbage. Leave the animals in nature where you belong with their families. Stop interfering with their lives. It's easy. Animal exploitation is the cause of pandemics. Are we learning anything? I could not get past the ridiculously horrendous killing of the seagull. Why is it so necessary to stretch this scene out? I understand the goal was a jackass, kill him because you are irritated, but that was it for me. I had no idea if the rest was good or not because of the reckless murder scene that lasts 5 minutes. It is very traumatic, and I do not find it artistically important at all. Unjustifiably long movie. Someone on Facebook posted about how Pattinson has relations with a mermaid in this movie, and I go, I have to go see this movie now because no one as big of a freak as me, right? Wrong. No one is as big a freak as whoever created this story. Such utter pointless movie. As for the relations with the mermaid, it lasted 2 seconds in the middle of this horribly, unjustifiably long movie. Enjoy if you can. What a piece of trash. Can't get that time back in my life. 2 weird characters doing weird stuff, usually intoxicated on a dreary island. People need to sober up when they rate these things. Talk about fake media. Don't get your hopes up with this one. Keep up the 3 hours of skimming through Amazon trying to find a marginal piece of trash worth watching. Good luck. I would really like to have a conversation with a dipstick in charge of buying content for Amazon Prime someday. It'll be nice to figure what the hell happened here. All right, these are. See, I got 2 more. It was 2 guys on an island. It wouldn't be surprised if the budget was less than $10,000 for the entire movie. There's some jerking off. I was really looking forward to it. Not a very good movie. Nothing makes sense. They built that whole fucking lighthouse. Nothing makes sense. Black and white was probably done to keep it cheap. You don't know anything you're talking about. The whole thing was like a mid-July deep south dumpster full of expired dairy behind a grocery store. The art alone does not carry the film. It's so hard to articulate how it was just simply a bad, boring movie. Thankfully, I sensed the movie was going nowhere but crazy town and fast-forwarded through it to the end to see how crazy it ends. It ends like a bad movie. I had never heard of this movie. Now I know why. That's it. Okay. Cinematography. Should we talk about it? It's $10,000 worth of cinematography.
All right.
Wow. It felt like a pretty low budget indie film that you'd see at Genre Blast or whatever.
It's a total trauma movie.
Absolutely.
All right. First of all, of course, we got the 119 framing that they went with, aspect ratio. That was because they wanted to make it as claustrophobic as possible, and they wanted to be able to shoot the lighthouse. You get taller stuff. It's if you got widescreen, you can't do that. And the black and white, of course, it just fits the movie. Not to save money. It doesn't work that way anymore, guys. Filmmakers are choosing to shoot black and white with tons of money in the 50s and 60s and 70s. They still had money. They still had color film.
That was probably the last time that cost the extra money was back in the.
It's not. Yeah. They used special filters, to get the looks they wanted. They were using vintage stuff. They were using filters from the 1800s on some of these shots. A lot of cool stuff. I mean, cinematography is beautiful in this movie. What do you guys think?
I agree with that, and I don't know. I just really like the whole, like I said earlier, the whole visual aesthetic in general, and then I really like that the subtle score that was over it. That sort of like foreboding like hum or whatever. I thought it really just kind of added to the atmosphere of the movie. And obviously, I'm a big Universal fan, so I like that. I don't mind that aspect ratio whatsoever, or it being in black and white. And that's what I kind of liked about it. There was some of it that reminded me of older films. There's some of it that reminded me of like the old Dark House, or anything from Universal back in the day. Um, yeah, it's a beautiful looking film, to be honest with you.
And they didn't use a lot of the lighting. They just used a lot of practical lights, and then I think he said a few China balls, but they were trying to keep it to look like it does look like a lot of films from the 1920s, that silent era of cinema.
Yeah.
Well,
And
he
then
does a good job, really, making you feel like it's that from that time period, the movies that he shoots.
yeah. One other thing that people talked about in those reviews was the masturbation and all that. Well, that's kind of the point of the movie. It really is a very sexual film because, like last week, this movie has a lot to do with sexual repression and a lot of homoerotic, homosexual repression. Because it's not done on screen, but he pretty much rapes Willem Dafoe and murders him, marries him alive, is what he actually does to him. And there's a lot of that in there. The lighthouse itself is a phallic image, a symbol, and there's even a part where when he's masturbating at one scene, there's a shot of the lighthouse sideways, and then it goes like that. And there's all kind of, and then the little hole he finds in the bed, of course, it's just something to fuck your bed with, and
a hole in the mattress.
Yeah, and he sees Willem Dafoe grinding in his bed, and he's watching him do this, and it's either he's doing that in his sleep or he's got his own hole in his mattress. And when he's up there in that thing, that slime falling down. There's a lot of indications that Robert Pattinson is homosexual, and maybe that's what happened with the guy killed, or the last guy that he can't get out of his head dying, the Winslow guy. That because the movie has to do a lot with masculinity. There's so much about being a tough guy, but that era, there's a lot of Ernest Hemingway kind of stuff in this film, and Ernest Hemingway was like this symbol of masculinity, and definitely some Lovecraft in there. But I think Ernest Hemingway, I think they even mentioned like the Old Man from the Sea and all that. Like, there's also some people, like one woman who she talked about the seagull, but she was right about the misogyny, because at one point Robert Pattinson does say, "I don't want to be like a housewife. I don't want to do this woman work type shit." And he's kind of being treated like the housewife to Willem Dafoe in some ways.
Yeah, with all
their
the
idea
jobs he's doing, yeah.
And he says housewife or slave is what he says. So he compares the housewife to a slave. So there is that, but that's intentional. The movie's not being misogynistic. It's commentating on misogyny in that era of stuff. Anybody made The Witch is not... He's watched The Witch, where he stands on it. So there's just a lot of so many routes of this, and then just the madness thing. Is he really mad, or is it really happening, or is it like you remember in The Witch? One of the options was that there was fungus growing on the corn outside. It just made everybody crazy or infected or ill. Well, what about the water he's drinking is contaminated, dead birds in it and all that stuff. And he puts the chalk in there to try to sanitize it. So it could all just be he's sick from the water, and he's hallucinating all this shit.
It gives you the feel that, is this actually happening? How much is in his head? It does. I did get that feeling when I was watching it. Like, is this for real? Especially some of the shit that kept going down after he did his job, and there was a scene where I mean, he was probably just toying with him, but when he had him come back in to mop the floor or whatever, because he didn't swab this floor or whatever. So I don't know, like like you said, this could be like interpreted in many ways, and that's one of them for sure. Is that how much of this was actually in his head that drove him mad? Was he there alone? Was Willem Dafoe in his head? Like, that's one of the things I thought.
It's possible that
Yeah.
you already killed him. I did
Right.
know that. I think that scene where Willem Dafoe attacks him, and gets axed at the end was just in his head. I don't, because Defoe didn't have any dirt on him. He'd just been buried, and I think he was already dead. And a lot of people think it's just that whole ending with that, and then him seeing the light, going mad, falling down. I think the idea is that he died in that fall, falling down the stairs, and then that whole scene where he's being pecked to death by the seagulls is just fantasy or last minute magic fantasy in his head.
I actually saw that last 5 minutes a little differently. Almost the light was something he could never attain. So, and they talked a lot about religion and Christianity and stuff. So in my mind, I kind of like started going sideways with it. Like the light is heaven. And at the same time, he got up there, he enjoyed a moment of it, but he was not worthy of it. And that's why he fell back down.
Ooh.
I mean, there's a lot of different things you can interpret with this, but that's just one of the things that I got from it watching it again today.
Yeah, I mean that's completely a possibility. That's what I love about movies like this. Is that there's no right or wrong answer at all. I mean, there were some people who thought what he saw in that light, going back to the American Dream thing, was that the American Dream's nothing. It's just a fucking light. And he was laughing out of like, fuck, I killed a guy, I wrecked a guy, just buried a guy for this. I didn't get anything, and fuck, I'll just kill myself, throw myself down the stairs. What else I got?
Yeah, but at that point also, I felt like he was long gone, mentally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever that light was, I mean, it probably wouldn't have mattered.
No.
And I don't know what it was exactly they were making. What were they making the alcohol out of?
It was lantern fuel and honey.
Yeah. And that's kind of the interesting thing too, is Pattinson starts off kind of clear-headed and he doesn't want to drink, and throughout the movie he just becoming more and more of a alcoholic, and he's becoming more and more enraged and more paranoid. Before we even get to the end, and like halfway through the movie, he accuses Defoe of some stuff and says he's onto him and stuff like that. So,
well, maybe that's he definitely seems like he's a recovering alcoholic in the beginning. Like he doesn't want to drink at all. Like he had not because he doesn't like drinking, but like he just doesn't want to do it. And the guy's pushing him. And maybe one of the reasons he doesn't is because maybe it makes him a violent drunk or paranoid or something. And that's what happened to the last guy, that they were drinking, and drinking's bad for him. And it affects him in a negative way. But in his isolation, and he had nothing else, the only way that he could cope with being around this asshole was to get drunk and just kind of get numb to it, because he was just so tired of it. Tired of him, tired of the work, tired of his farts, his goddamn farts.
He even mentions that whenever he's like listing off all the problems he has. The goddamn fucking farts. Yeah. That was like the first time that happened in the movie. I was like, did he fart? And then Helena looks at me, did he fart? I'm like, I think so.
On the commentary, Edgar said that the witch was so serious and so gloomy that he felt like maybe he should throw some like just humor, like at least some kind of light moments into this movie. So they said I put the farts
with Northman, definitely.
Yeah, they fart now. No, yeah.
There's a comment we have that says, all my friends thought Hereditary was about a cult. I wanted to pull my hair out. But yeah, it's about a cult.
Well, there is one in there, but it's about more than that.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of cult action going on in that movie. But no, that's not what the movie's about.
Because I mean, let's just face it. Most people just see surface, and that's fine. And I think that's why these movies get dumped on, is because there is just a lot of people who just want to go to movies to be entertained, and they just look at the surface and they don't want to be challenged. Even like the people who are so against woke movies, and they're like, I don't want to be preached, or I don't want to think about those things, or I don't want somebody talking to me about feminism or racism. I just want to watch a movie and have fun. It's like, yeah, but horror deals with social shit. It always has. It deals with our fears. It deals with our problems. It deals with our paranoias. It deals with injustice. It deals with everything. So if a filmmaker chooses to talk about racism or sexism or homosexuality or whatever the fuck it is, it's just horror as usual. It's just, I mean, all the novelists, the writers that wrote, I mean, you don't think Shirley Jackson was writing about that shit? You don't think, it's just people who just, they don't want to be bothered by it, or they don't want it forced upon them. But it's like, it's been forced upon you, just didn't see it.
Look, I just got here. I got a text on my phone. I'm like, oh, awesome. So the Lighthouse is here. Also, I ordered The Craft, the new one, because Helena watched the old one and loved it. And she's like, is there another one? I showed her the trailer. She's like, we have to see that. I'm like, okay.
And it doesn't make anybody stupid that they don't catch shit. It just doesn't. It's not a thing about stupid. It's when people start talking down to you. That's what gets people to hate fucking art house films. When you start talking to people like they're dumb. It's like, oh, you don't get it. Oh, I get it. And then you got that shit. And then that's why they hate these movies, because they're being talked down to by the people who allegedly get it. And I'm not talking down to people. Like I said, I get it. You don't like it, or you want to be entertained, that's fine. We all like our different things. We all like our different flavors. We all go to art for different reasons. But I don't call this stuff shit. Like, I take a lot of shots at Friday the 13th, but I fucking love Friday the 13th. I love Jason Voorhees. I can have a fucking blast with those movies.
Yeah,
there's nothing that it's in my head going, I don't know why people like those movies. I fucking know why, because I like those movies. I get it.
We all have those spots.
Yeah, but
we all have those franchises that we love.
Yeah, I like it all. But it bugs me that some people are like, well, it's this or nothing, and everything else is garbage. It's like, can you just say it's not my thing?
That's the state of the horror community these days anyway. It's this or garbage. If you don't like this, then you're garbage, That's unfortunately the way that's the way the world is right now.
Yeah.
I made a better movie than The Lighthouse when I was in the 4th grade, but my friends.
I mean, I'll be honest, I did make a better movie than The Lighthouse. No. Thank you, Nathan Thomas Miller, for being sincere. Nate is always sincere.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I think, based on the performances alone, this is good, a really good movie. I mean, I've seen Robert Pattinson do a lot of different things now. He's a very versatile actor, actually. And this one was totally he was lost in the character more than I've seen him ever in anything else he's ever been in. He wasn't you know what I'm saying? That was one of the good things. At the beginning of the movie, you look at Pattinson, you look at Defoe, and you're like, okay, I love Willem Defoe. Is that everybody seems to love him now? Is it because he's a bit of a scientist himself?
I can't imagine why anyone would have a problem or not like Defoe. Defoe's one of those guys. I was just watching it and thinking, this guy's like a national fucking treasure. He's done so, and he seems like such a cool dude too. Whenever you see him in interviews and things, you see that there's a real artist there. He really loves what he does, and he really dedicates himself no matter what size the movie is, no matter what type of movie it is. he's never phoning it in, and he
Especially
creates
not
these
in this
amazing.
movie.
No, and I
No,
like
that's where I was going. Actually, was that they've got both lost in the characters they were playing. That's one of the best things about the movie to me was how I forgot for a minute that this was Pattinson, this was Defoe. You know.
let's see where he's doing his prayer while he's being buried alive, and they're
Yeah, that
throwing
was
dirt
amazing.
into his mouth
Yeah.
and on his face,
In
and
his
he
mouth,
just keeps
in his
going.
eyes,
Yeah.
like not stopping.
How many big actors would do that? And this was.
Well, I heard that wasn't dirt. I heard it was.
I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it was something edible or
a cookie crumble, mashed up.
Oreos.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's with black and white film you could do all that. Like
right.
like the when he's pumping the water and it's all black, it's just Hershey syrup. And, stuff like that. 'Cause I was telling my nephew he was making a black and white film a while back, and I was trying to do blood. He goes, "Where can I get some blood?" I'm like, "Just use some Hershey syrup.
That's where it's cheaper. That's a good idea.
That's what I think. That's what Alfred
Romero did.
I think that's what Hitchcock did, right?
Hitchcock too.
In the shower scene. So. And it's what you do, like with this. One of the cool things I liked when I was watching this commentary was he was talking about that last scene where, if you notice, where Pattinson opens the light, like the blood on his face is black.
Yeah.
And as he opens it, it starts to change. So what they did was they were changing filters. If you use certain like a yellow filter or orange filter, whatever, it changes the way black. Like I have a couple like yellow and orange filters, and it that's what you want when you do black and white because it changes what's black and what's white, what's gray, and all that. So when they had that, I think it's the yellow filter or maybe it's orange. It made the blood black, but they would remove it, and there would just be another filter there that would make it start to lighten up a bit. And then of course they blew the light out on it, where he's screaming. But they did little things like that. They made a few cyan filters for the film to give it a certain look. So again, the level of filmmaking going on in these films, from art direction, cinematography, story. People watch these movies and think people are just being arty farty, but there's so many meticulous choices and problem solving and things that they're doing in every frame. That's why I appreciate movies like this and The Witch and Hereditary and Midsommar, because I'm seeing fucking the kind of filmmaking that they give Oscars out for, and people, there's some people like, Oscars, it's pretentious, blah, blah, blah. I don't watch Oscar movies. They're all just Oscar bait drama looking for, it's just not true, man. Like there are some, but all those movies that you've been told are great, the Citizen Kanes and the Seven Samurais and 400 Blows, they are fucking good. They're not just pretentious assholes trying to feel smart and better than you. They're just good movies, and they have those reputations because people watch them and go, holy shit. And I've gotten there where I'm watching these movies now. I'm trying to get through all those old classics that I hadn't seen, all these movies I'd heard about. HBO has all the Janus films, and I'm trying to make my way through them, and I'm watching them. I'm like, fuck, why didn't I do this 20 years ago? Like, they're called this. They're called essentials because they are essential. There's so great of stories and filmmaking going on that, it's almost made me not want to watch modern films. So I start to get why people like Scorsese and all that are feeling unfulfilled. Not that there aren't great films being made. They're just not the ones going to the theaters most of the time. And I think that's where they're upset with. But I don't think people just don't want to see those. Again, people want to be entertained. I get it. They want to see superheroes. I fucking love superheroes. I have no problem with them.
Explosions and wonder. Yeah.
But, but at the same time, the same people who complain about unoriginality, they're not going on HBO and watching the Janus films to watch the stuff they've missed over the last 100 years. They're not. There's so many films.
What are the Janus films?
Janus was like a distributor that put out like foreign films and like the best films, like films that are like art house essentials, things like that. They were a distributor a long time ago, and Criterion's released a lot of their titles. And so if you go on HBO, you're going to see, documentaries and French films, Italian films, German films, Japanese films, Chinese films, all these films that were part of that distributor, and they really are some of the best films I've ever seen. Like it's almost like I'm you know how you go watching the movies, you just want to see that good movie or wait for those good ones to come along where you're like, holy shit. Well, it's like watching these movies. It's like every fucking time you watch them, you're like, holy shit. It's like I've just gotten a treasure trove of films, and HBO's got them all. Like it's like I'll never get to watch all of them because there's like 250 or 300 on there, and I've watched about 100. I probably will get to watch them all, but
you probably will
take time. But
yeah. I hope you're adding them to your list after you.
But then then I'll find like a filmmaker and I'll go look at his filmography. I'm like, now I want to watch all his films or all her films, and then I'm like, I'll never get to see all these. And then I'm like, well, what are the greatest French films of all time? And I look up like the 100 greatest, and I'm like, well, I've seen 20 of these, so I want to see the other 80, or the Japanese or the Italians. And you know, it's that's the kind of movies that Ari Aster and Robert Eggers love and get excited about and do this. And it's not pretentiousness. It's just that they've got a different diet than you do. I think that's all it is. It's like I eat over here at this restaurant, you eat at that restaurant, and it doesn't mean I'm pretentious because of that.
What is the film that you think is better than The Black Phone for this year?
No, we talked about this film on the show last year. I was thinking today, because I liked The Black Phone, but I was kind of underwhelmed by it. I kind of thought it was, decent, but I didn't think it was incredible. But I was thinking about The Boy Behind the Door. It's the same movie in many ways, but I felt that movie was better. I thought it was a better film. Because I don't know, with Black Phone, I was like, yeah, I love the 70s setting. And Ethan Hawke's great. The mask is cool. The whole phone call thing with the dead kids thing, kind of like, I feel like I've seen this in Sixth Sense and, all this other. But The Boy Behind the Door was really suspenseful to me.
It was really good.
And
it was a surprising one from last year.
It was a cheap movie.
Friends that got kidnapped.
Yeah, two little boys, baseball players.
Yeah.
And
it was on Shudder, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I thought, and it wasn't, and I don't like when people compare other movies to other movies. Like, hey, they can both be good, you can both love them both. But the fact that no one knows that movie, no one's watched it, no one talks about it, and it is literally one of the best films I've seen in the last 5 years. Like I think we all rated it that saw it in our top 5 of horror movies last year, top 10. I don't remember, but I know you guys watched it after I suggested it and liked it. I don't remember everyone who liked it or not, but
I liked it. Keith liked it too. I know Keith did.
But that's the problem. Like we've got these amazing movies like that just no one gives a chance, and then they bitch about not having anything to watch. But Shudder is like a fucking a treasure trove of horror movies that no one's talking about. And there's at least 5 or 10 every year on there that are totally worth watching.
I mean, people talk about, and I know you're not a big vampire movie fan, but there's that Jacob's Wife movies on there, and that was a lot of fun.
I love that one.
Yeah, you wouldn't find that anywhere else. Shudder's got all kinds of stuff, and it's a great place to find new movies that you've never heard of, for sure. Because last year, how many movies did we have go to Shudder to see before our end of the year show? There was so many that you found on there, like Slacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them on there.
Queen of Black Magic was my favorite out of the year, and there was a few others like Censor.
There's already even more this year than compared to last year.
I bet.
Well,
I watched 50 or 60 films.
There are a lot of foreign movies on there too that nobody will ever see, and I'm not just talking about the old Giallo, Lucio Fulci, Dario Argentos. I'm talking about current ones because there was a couple on your list. Both of you guys, I think, Nate and Jared, that were French, I think. Like, what was that one? She was like a columnist.
The Columnist, I think it's called.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think that was a French film too, right?
Yeah, it was French or Dutch. I can't remember.
Something like that. But there's a lot of stuff on Shudder that doesn't get recognized because people want Jason, which again, I like Jason. I like Freddy. I like Hog Maw, but that's a Friday reference. Anyway, um, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
But yeah, again, I get why people don't like these because they don't eat at this restaurant. It's fine, But I like to eat at different restaurants.
Some people like their horror through the drive-through.
I don't always want McDonald's. Sometimes I want a steak.
Watch Fat Girl and go from there when it comes to French girls.
I want to watch Fat Girl. That's one of the Janice films. I have it in my queue.
Never heard of it. Yeah, there's I know when it comes to the end of the year, like last year, I had to cram in like 10 or 15 movies in the last month or so, and Shudder had most of them. Amazon had a lot of them too. I was still very partial to Willy's Wonderland, so the movie was amazing.
That was fun.
Nicolas Cage, yeah. There's a lot of good ones from last year. Because I was looking at my list this year, I've only seen maybe 6 horror movies, and for me, The Black Phone was my favorite.
I don't know what my favorite is this year. I remember liking X. I liked
X was good.
X was good, yeah.
The new Texas Chainsaw was fun.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well,
I've got on my
I
list.
guess Nope would be my favorite of the year.
Yeah, Scream, Texas Chainsaw, Fresh. Did you guys see Fresh?
I haven't seen that yet.
It's really good. It's on Hulu. Firestarter, The Black Phone, X, Nope, and 1031 Part 3. I mean, it's 2022, so it's on the list for this year. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. Between The Black Phone, Nope, and X were probably the best movies for me. Fresh is really fucking good. It's got Sebastian Stan in it, and it's not what you think.
Oh,
So definitely, absolutely check that movie out.
For that
Excuse me, congestion.
Yeah, I can't remember what else. Best horror.
Oh, Scream, wasn't that this year?
I like Scream.
January.
Did you see The Cursed, Nate?
Yeah,
Cursed.
you've seen that, Seth, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, how was that? Because I looked at the Blu-ray yesterday.
Which one was that?
It's a werewolf movie.
Yeah, it's a werewolf movie with Boyd Holbrook.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I do like him. Is Prey a horror movie? Because that one makes me laugh.
Well, let me see if I have it on my watch list. Then it is.
Prey come up
I'm
as
the
a
one
horror
who's
movie.
picky about that stuff. Seth, what do you say?
Doesn't really play as a horror movie though.
Nude as Predator.
What,
No.
for Prey? I mean,
Original Predator is a slasher film. You know it.
yeah.
All right, I
You
put
can
Prey
count
on
it by
my list.
association.
Praise yeah, I'll put it on the horror list. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb has it as a horror film.
I guess I need to put it on my horror film list then.
And that's my number one, I guess. Let's see, Watcher, that was
That was
decent.
just more art house bullshit. Come on.
No, I still like Nope.
Come on.
That's my favorite. Crimes of the Future is pretty cool.
I still need to see that.
I
That
still
was
haven't seen it,
wild.
There are a bunch of movies on Shudder from 2022. I watched one called What Josiah Saw, and it had Robert Patrick and a couple other people in it. It was actually a very fucking good movie, but I would probably put it in my top 10 of 2022. But it was very surprising.
Well, the best ranked one is a movie called The Innocents.
Oh, yes, that's a Norwegian.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Norwegian. It's about
Cherish.
these little kids that have like special powers. I haven't seen it yet, but it's on Shudder, and it looks fucking amazing.
I gotta watch that. It's got 97% rating. Hellbender is number 2, which I did watch, and I like that one. If you guys haven't seen that I think it's on Shudder.
Which one was it?
Hellbender. I'll tell you the synopsis, but we watched that a while back. Fan rating's 54, but critics gave it a 90 something, 97. A teen and her mother live simply in a home in the woods, spending their time making metal music. A chance encounter with a fellow teen causes her to uncover a connection between her family and witchcraft, which causes a rift with her mother.
I saw the trailer for this one.
Yeah, I liked it. X is number 3. Prey is number 4. This is one I haven't watched yet. You Won't Be Alone, which is on. It's streaming on something. Have you seen that?
It has the gal
Jared?
and Lamb in it.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, Numi Rapace, yeah.
You'll Never Be Alone.
Set in an isolated mountain village in 19th century Macedonia, You Won't Be Alone follows a young girl who's kidnapped and then transformed into a witch by an ancient spirit. Curious about life as a human, the young witch accidentally kills a peasant in the nearby village and then takes her victim. Stick to a victim's shape.
That one's on Peacock.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, because we need to probably start getting. I don't want to have to cram them all into like a week like I did last year. All the horror movies for our final show of the year.
Phil Tippett's Mad God is on top 10. Which
still on my list. I still haven't
he
seen
said it wasn't a horror movie though. So.
To Phil Tippett?
Yeah.
Phil Tippett, the animator?
Yeah, it's been you don't know about this movie?
No.
It's a stop motion animation movie he's made for like the last 30 years. It's like
Shit.
Yeah, he's been making it. He actually went nuts and went to an insane asylum or checked himself into a mental institution.
Yeah, I know he dealt with depression and other problems.
Yeah. But there's a documentary about him on Prime, maybe. I was just watching it the other day. It looks like it touches on it. I didn't get to finish it. I watched like the first hour.
He was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm watching that and watching like the Industrial Light and Magic documentary recently. I was like, God, I would love to meet him and
Dennis Muren's the one I
Muren and Dykstra and
he got the raw deal, didn't he? That's a good documentary, by the way. ILM Faced.
Yeah, I watched that, and there's a Randy Rhoads documentary on there now. It's pretty good. And a Guar documentary.
Yeah, I heard about that one too on Shudder. Was that on Shudder?
Yeah.
What's this one? We got a comment that says Mad God and The Innocents are top on my list. So The Innocents, that's a new movie?
Yeah. It's I want to say it's Norwegian. It's about some kids that have special powers and they kind of have to stay in this kind of like a halfway house, I guess, but like
that poster's awesome. Have you guys seen the poster?
Shit happens. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like they don't realize the grab the
Is it on Shudder? We got off topic again, but that's okay. I mean, we're talking about current movies that people need to know about. You know, if they're, I mean, I don't understand why every horror fan isn't subscribed to Shudder at this point, because Shudder's got so much that, like I said today, that 101 Scariest Movies Moments thing kicked off today. I watched the first episode; it was a lot of fun.
They've got a little bit of everything. You got like all these really cool documentaries and little specials and originals, and you got all these horror movies that you're not going to see anywhere else. And then you got Joe Bob Briggs' things he does all the time, and it's like if you're like my wife's always like, "Can we get rid of Shudder?" I'm like, "No," because like it's
only $5.
Yeah, it's like there's so much I see every year on that channel. More than
I get my money's worth on Shudder for sure. Yeah. Every month. So this is one of the movies that you were talking about, Nate. Hellbender. It's only only
short.
It's 86 minutes long. And
it's not like it's very. It looks very cheap. It's very low budget. But
great witch film. I love witch films.
I really dug it. Yeah.
Some good. I mean, look at these skulls are filled up. Great all around. Don't miss this. Love the lore. Very atmospheric. Some really solid haunting and beautiful silhouette shots. Cool. I'm in. I'm gonna have to watch this one for sure. What was another one you said that was on here?
Oh,
The Innocents one isn't on here. Is it?
I think
The Innocents is on there.
Oh yeah, it's on there.
And then the stop motion movie.
Yeah, Mad God.
Okay, I'm putting these on my list.
Something called what Josiah saw.
Yeah, what Josiah saw.
That looks kind of cool. It's got 90%.
It was very surprising. The ending.
What have you done with two Solanges on here?
You're Not My Mother.
Go back, Ray. Well,
that's a Halloween movie, or a week of Halloween.
Trying to add this to my list. There we go.
I saw Watcher with Micah Monroe, and it was just okay.
Yeah, What Keeps You Alive is also a great movie.
Is it new?
It's like a couple years old.
2018.
It has the lady that was in It Stains the Sands red.
That was a good one.
It's basically like a girl and her wife. They go out on a vacation. And
is somebody taking pictures?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
I take a picture so I remember it, because this is a movie someone told me the other day about, Resurrection, with Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth. It says Margaret's life is in order. She is capable, disciplined, and successful. Soon her teenage daughter, who Margaret raised by herself, will be going off to a fine university, just as Margaret had intended. Everything is under control, that is, until David returns, carrying with him the horrors of Margaret's past. Called The Resurrection.
When's that one?
I don't know if it's streaming. It says rent or buy on Prime. Rent or buy Apple TV. Rent or buy Vudu.
Anyway, yeah. I love Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, you're missing out. Seth, did you ever get Shudder?
Yes.
Popped in like the toasty guy.
Yes. Well, has anybody seen this Let the Wrong One In?
No. What is that?
It's got a 92%. All the audiences hate these movies that are high rated. Let the Wrong One In follows young supermarket worker Matt, who is a little too nice for his own good when he discovers that his older estranged brother Deco has turned into a vampire. He's faced with the dilemma: will he risk his own life to help his sibling with blood being thicker than water, or will he stake him before he spreads the infection further?
Where's that?
Let's see.
I hate that you can't see the.
It's all like rent or buy Prime.
Yeah, I hate that you can't see whether or not it's Shudder on Google when you Google search it.
Yeah. Let the Wrong One In.
I like the title.
Oh, Tubi has it, and Plex and Vudu for free. Yeah. All right, I gotta check that one out.
Is that a 22?
Yep. No, 21.
21.
But maybe it just came out this year, though. I don't know.
Yeah, we've had that issue before with Saint Maud.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here are my matches. I was looking for these when I was grilling the other day. Anyway.
So the Lighthouse. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, good movie overall. I need to see it a couple more times to really digest what I saw. You know.
Yeah, like I said, I watched it 3 times in the last 2 days, and I still don't understand everything.
Right.
Like,
well, I
I've
mean,
seen it a few times before.
Hearing what you guys have to say about it, you know, also, I whenever I go back and watch some of the movies we talk about, I keep that in mind, and you know, because it can change perception of the movie a little bit for you, especially that like Mother. When I saw that, I got some of what was going on, but after our show, I rewatched it and I really enjoyed it a lot more than I did the first time, or second time. But I would definitely recommend The Lighthouse to anyone who wants to see it.
Movie, by the way.
What?
I'm stoked for Darren's new movie, The Whale.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about Mother.
When's that coming out?
I think it just hit the. It just hit Cannes, so I mean it's going to be coming out soon.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser, freaking 400 pounds. Holy
600.
moly. I can't imagine he's 600 pounds.
Well, in the movie he is, not in real life.
Right.
But anyway, so let's do our final thoughts and recommend or not recommend. Seth, Lighthouse, final thoughts. And
It's a total dumpster fire. It's very pretentious.
yeah, it's true.
I don't know why anyone would like it, because it's just it's one of the worst movies ever made. And I did better when I was in kindergarten with some finger paints. So I recommend it.
In the room.
I recommend The Lighthouse because of those reasons.
All right, Nate, what about you?
Too much CGI for my blood.
Yeah.
It's all practical, by the way. Again, you may not want to eat at this restaurant. I'll just say that. Like, I get the people who don't vibe with it because it is a challenging, artistic, a film that's trying to do other things that most filmmakers aren't trying to do now. And that's not a pretentious statement. That's just the way it is. It's not saying he's doing better films than everybody else or worse films than everybody else. It's just a different restaurant. They cook their meals a little differently over here. And, that's how I look at it.
I mean, one thing is, like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can like a movie like The Lighthouse, and then you can like a movie like Halloween Kills.
Yeah. I like Halloween Kills. As I say, like, if you're open-minded to things, which, unfortunately a lot of people aren't, just, if you eat the same thing all the time, your body's going to reject it eventually. So spread your diet out. Have some vegetables every once in a while. This is vegetables. They're not exciting. Kind of boring, kind of gray, kind of black and white. But they're good for you and make you feel better.
If anything, if you didn't like the movie, it'll make you appreciate the things you do like more. I don't know.
You'll get the shit easier. You'll have a better shit.
Seth, I need to ask you real fast. What's Evil doing tonight?
What's that?
What's Evil doing tonight?
Resting up.
Okay.
Evil is resting tonight.
You haven't said it in a while, so I had to ask. Jared, what about you on The Lighthouse?
Well, I mean, it's definitely, like Nate says, it's not one of the movies you're going to go out and immediately want to watch. We knew about Eggers before because of the Witch, and when I first saw it, I was fucking blown away by it, and I'm still going to stand by it. I feel like it's a contemporary classic just due to the setting, two actors going at it with each other the entire time. And I have a new appreciation for Pattinson, and this was even before Batman. Like, I really didn't like much of the things that he did before this. There's still some movies I still need to watch that he's done.
Good time.
But I did want to mention there was a monologue that he had, like right before the third act, and we kind of alluded to it earlier when he was talking about how he turned into Ibrahim. Like, that whole monologue about the log jam, like, completely ruled that performance over for me, for Pattinson. Like, this was his best movie that I've seen thus far. I mean, there's a couple other ones that he did with A24 that I haven't seen yet that are supposedly really good too, but this by far is my favorite performance of his.
What I like about that guy is that because he made like millions and millions and millions of dollars on Twilight, that he just does whatever he wants and he only wants to do. Apparently, Eggers sent him another script. I wonder if it was The Northman, because he sent him another script and Robert said, it's not weird enough. So he sent him this. Is this weird enough? He goes, yeah, that's weird enough. So he said, I only want to do weird movies. So he's not interested in doing, movies that aren't interesting. and aren't challenging and aren't. I mean, that's why he's working with like Nolan and Reeves and Eggers and Cronenberg and all these guys because he wants to make,
Yeah, that movie he did with Cronenberg was really good too.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Good Time, that was a pretty damn good movie. Another one
that's one of the ones I haven't seen yet.
He like you talked about how he goes really into this movie, like that character, like you won't recognize him in that movie. He just becomes somebody else. And the first movie I saw him in that really blew me away, I think it was an A24 movie, was called The Rover with Guy Pearce. That really impressed me. That kind of changed my attitude on him. I never like hated the guy, but all I knew him from was Twilight. And when I saw The Rover, I was like, oh, this guy's got some chops. This guy can do more than he's been given.
What was that?
It's the Dawn of the Dead music.
Yeah, so Dan John wants to know.
Yeah, I've seen all three of his films in the theater.
Yeah, I got to see them in the theater.
I did not. So I think Seth, you did too.
Yep. The trailer.
Yeah, I haven't seen it at all yet. But I saw the trailer last night, and I would like to see it. Because I do watch more than horror. I've been watching Lord of the Rings lately. So
yeah, I did say at the end, like the beginning, that Northland was my least favorite movie. That doesn't mean I didn't love it. So out of his three movies,
you were that good.
Yeah, yeah. I just felt it was more like I knew where we were going, basically. And so it was kind of like, oh, this is really awesome, but I know where I'm going. And I was hoping for something different, but like you said, it's not a Braveheart movie. Not that there's nothing wrong with Braveheart. Braveheart's amazing.
Yeah, it's a personal revenge movie, and that's where I really dug it, and I think it's just, once again, beautifully directed, and I absolutely love the score for it, and then just that whole visual scene of the two guys fighting at the end was really cool.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Jared's favorite part.
Revenge film where two guys fight at the end. Spoiler.
Okay. By the way, I want to wish Jared a happy anniversary on. It's been 3 years and 1 day since he dropped this tuna sub at Subway. Sorry. I just thought about that. Anyway. Huh?
I said,
You're so dejected that day. I'll never forget that.
My condolences, Jared. Lots of prayers.
Maybe we'll never be the face of horror. So next week, are we doing the Your Vice and Delirium? Okay, so next week we're doing an exercise that we did about a month ago where we watched two movies we'd never seen before. When Nate brought these titles up, the first ones, I was like, But we watched 10 Rillington Place. Is it 10? Yeah, right. 10. And then, God, what was the other one?
Simon Terror.
An absolute must watch on YouTube. But next week, we're going to talk about a movie called Delirium. Nate, can you give a little bit of background on that before we go?
I don't really know much about Delirium. I found out about it on Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery have a new podcast, Video Archives, where they watch 3 movies from the VHS. It was kind of cool because they watch them on the VHS that they had at their video store back in the 80s that they worked at, and they always try to watch movies that they have at least one movie they have never seen. And neither of them had seen Delirium. It's like this 1979 slasher film. Maybe an Italian. But they were just like, holy shit over the movie. Like, they were like, it surprised them. So I thought, well, the way they talked about it, I was like, I want to see this. So I said, hey, you guys seen it? Nope. And so we should. Jerry, did you see this one?
Not Delirium. I saw the other one, though.
Okay, yeah. So none of us had seen it, so all right, we gotta add that to our our list to watch, and I think that one's streaming somewhere for free. And that, like, it's on YouTube, I think.
Might have been YouTube.
Yeah, the other one I don't think is streaming, but it's like $2.99 somewhere or something.
Yeah, the other one stars Edwidge Fenech, and it's I think is it Sergio Martino?
Yes.
Sergio Martino's Your Vice is a locked room, and only I have the key.
Her eyes are up there, man.
Yeah, look at it. Hey, Edwidge Fenech is one of the most beautiful women of all time. Eli Roth was able to get her in Hostel 2 as an art teacher. I love her. I've seen just about everything she's been in. All the Colors of the Dark is really good. The Case of the Bloody Iris. I love her very much. So can't wait to watch Your Vice. Jared is our Giallo curator, so he's the guy that knows about all the Giallos. And I'm just kind of trying to catch up to him a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to talking about these two movies next week. Because I had a lot of fun with the last episode. You know, all of us kind of went in fresh, not seeing these movies. And that was a lot of fun, kind of experiencing them together and then waiting until after we saw them to discuss what we thought of them. Because one was a stinker, in my opinion. And then the other one was way too underseen. It was on Amazon, right? The Rillington Place. And we all, I believe, suggested that you see that movie. So if you're out there watching, or if you're watching this later, check out 10 Rillington Place on Amazon. I think it's from 1971. It's definitely worth watching, and maybe we'll have some good things to say about these other two movies.
I'm excited to see something, man. 2 movies I haven't seen, so that's
it's gonna be fun. I when you first brought this up, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch stuff I've never even heard of, but I've enjoyed it the first time, and this should be fun. So I hope you guys are excited about it too, Jared and Sethy. So that's next week. Thanks for anyone who joins us this week or watches it after the fact. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we're coming up on October very soon. We got 2 more shows, which is next week and the week after that, before we start doing Universal Horror. So the week after, we were going to do Elevated Horror or something like that. We're going to postpone that. We still have not talked about Carrie. I want to talk about Carrie. You guys okay with that? We've not talked about Carrie, and we need to. Mm-hmm. So Carrie, it's going to be Your Vice and Delirium, Carrie, and then we're gonna watch all 3 and talk about all 3 Creature from the Black Lagoon movies for the last week of September, and then we're gonna go into October and talk, because me and Seth are in agreement. I think Jared is too. Nate, I don't know where you fall on this, but I think the best time for Universal Horror is October. They are totally get you in the mood. The atmosphere, the set design, the black and white, the music, the iconic look of the characters between, the Wolfman, Bela Lugosi as Dracula, Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney, and Lugosi as the creature or the monster. That's what I think of when I think of October and think about horror movies I want to watch. Universal's the first thing that pops up, along with Hammer. For me, I'm a big Hammer fan. By the way, on that 101 horror moments, the Horror of Dracula was on there. Yeah, I was very excited.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that last episode where when I was a little kid, that's who Halloween was represented by. Yeah. It wasn't Freddy and Jason and
absolutely
Sam and Ghostface. It was Dracula, Wolfman, and a witch and all that. So I remember drawing them as a kid during October. I remember in 3rd grade making a haunted house and drawing Dracula and a witch and all that.
Have you ever done any Universal stuff, Nate?
Yeah, I've done a few.
Oh, I'd like to see
I just
that.
recently did something's coming out I can't talk about.
Come
I did 4 pieces, all Universal Horror.
I was going to say you should draw some Universal stuff this October, but
I've done a few things. Like I've given some things away. Like I did a Daniel Horn, who's a great artist who does a lot of great Universal Horror and old classic stuff. Oil paintings. I gifted him a Frankenstein drawing, and I've done a few Frankenstein monster drawings. But yeah, I love doing it. I love black and white. That's where that's my favorite. I don't really love color. So to get to draw I don't really like color art. I like black and white, but you know they don't usually publish black and white art.
Oh, art. You're
So
talking about art. I thought you meant movies.
no, I love black and white movies too, but
Yeah.
I like black and white. I like drawing with just an ink pen or a pencil, or like on grayscale with white color pencil or whatever.
Grayscale
paint.
comics are really cool.
And yeah, I mean, I loved, like, I remember, like, my first comics were black and white just because I couldn't afford color. But that's what I came from, was black and white. And because I couldn't afford color, you have to learn to make black and white exciting looking. You know? So, and until The Walking Dead came along and they did that grayscale in Walking Dead comics, then I was like, oh, maybe I can use some of the grayscale to kind of not have to cross that so much.
Yeah, the grayscale turns out really nice. The Walking Dead, between both artists, looks really great.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this October and talking about all these classic, nearly 100-year-old movies. So it should be a good time. I know Seth's chomping at the bit because me and him have talked about these at length in the past, and I know Jared's a huge fan, so it should just be a love fest of Universal Horror. And I'm going to wear the same shirt every week because I only have one Universal Horror shirt, so it's got all of them on there. So anyway. Yeah, so make sure you subscribe or like the Horror Syndicate on Facebook or whatever to watch all of our episodes. We do have all the backlog episodes of all the classics. We've done Halloween out the wazoo. We've done Elm Street. We've done Texas Chainsaw Massacre episodes. The Hills Have Eyes. Actually, believe it or not, on YouTube, the Hills Have Eyes episodes, one of our highest viewed shows. So
was it the remake or the original? Or...
It was both of them. We did both of them. Yeah. So so check those out on YouTube. They're on Facebook, but they're harder to find. YouTube, it's a lot easier. So a lot of good content. We did interviews with Mark Patton from Elm Street 2, Lisa Wilcox, Ken Sagos. Who else? We've done a few. It's been a while since we've done an interview, but 2020 was the interview year.
Yeah.
So
Sasha Jensen
from Halloween 4 and Dazed and Confused. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. That's all we got for tonight. Check us out next week where Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, one of the longest titles of all time, and Delirium, a short title. and that's it. We'll talk to you all next week. Bye.